Hi, my name is Sylvie. I'm a certified health coach and fitness trainer, and today's video is 7 rules of intermittent fasting. And honestly, I hate rules because when it comes to health and wellness, there are no rules. What works for one person may not work for another one. That being said, I think I managed to come up with 7 pretty decent rules of intermittent fasting. And once I go through them, you'll see what I'm talking about, why they make so much sense. These rules are simple, yet essential. Rule number 1, achieve optimal weight loss ketosis. I talk about that a lot in my videos because it's truly the basis of intermittent fasting success when it comes to weight loss and overall health. Achieving optimal weight loss ketosis is what's going to allow you to get over your food craving and gain true food freedom. You'll feel like you suddenly can be hungry without feeling grumpy, without feeling like it's affecting everything in your life and making you miserable. It'll really free you from blood sugar ups and downs that can really control your life. And to do that, to ensure that you reach that optimal weight loss ketosis when fasting, you have to make sure that you fast long enough. Unfortunately, I find that a lot of women who get started with intermittent fasting just get started with a 16-hour fasting window, and it's typically not long enough to achieve that optimal weight loss ketosis and stay there for a couple of hours and truly reap the benefits. Typically, I find that you enter that optimal weight loss ketosis around 18 hours, and then if you fast for 20 hours, it means you'll be there for about 2 hours. And that's why I find that it's usually the best length of a fasting window for most women, but you don't have to measure that in hours. It is helpful, particularly as you get started and you've never felt the switch. You don't know what it feels like to be in optimal weight loss ketosis. Then maybe having that number will help you get started. But over time, you'll be able to tell. When you fast, you'll notice that you get to a point where you feel hungry, but it's not bothering you, and you feel amazing and you feel energetic. That's what it feels like to be in optimal weight loss ketosis. You can also use a ketone monitor to check your ketone levels, and typically I would experience the switch around the 1.0 level. Many health experts recommend 1.5 up to 3. So that's something that you could check using a ketone monitor. It's kind of helpful sometimes to see a number on the screen and to see how your body is reacting to fasting and how long it is taking you to reach that optimal weight loss ketosis. And also something to keep in mind is that if you have experience with fasting, or the keto diet, it'll be easier to get into that optimal weight loss ketosis than if you've never done it. So that's why in my 30-day intermittent fasting transformation program, I recommend that you kickstart your weight loss using either a modified fast or the keto diet to help you get into that fat burning mode easier once you start practicing intermittent fasting. Rule number 2, focus on nutrient-dense food. Even though one of the main benefits of intermittent fasting is food freedom, it doesn't mean that you get to eat junk food all the time. If you want your body to function optimally, you have to eat nutrient-dense foods. And nutrient-dense foods are simply foods that provide the most vitamins and minerals for the least amount of calories. Typically, these foods are vegetables and fruits, nuts and seeds and herbs. Other guidelines that you could try to follow are to limit your caffeine and alcohol consumption, to eat 1 large salad a day, and also you could consider on top of your large salad eating 2 cups of non-starchy vegetables. If you follow these guidelines, you're increasing your likelihood to get enough nutrients for your body to function optimally. Rule of intermittent fasting for weight loss number 3, drink enough water. During your fasting window, you may notice that you feel hungry, and if you have a tall glass of water, suddenly you don't feel hungry anymore. And believe it or not, it turns out that thirst can be confused for hunger. And also the water is going to fill up some space in your stomach. Now, how much water should you drink? The typical advice is to drink half your body weight in pounds in ounces of water. And for the average woman, that'll be about 2 liters of water a day. And you may see some health experts talk about the risks of drinking too much water and tell you that you shouldn't drink water if you don't feel thirsty, and that drinking too much water can be dangerous. But believe me, making sure to drink 2 liters of water a day is not gonna cause any ill effect. So my recommendation is don't worry about water poisoning and make sure you drink at least 2 liters of water a day. Rule of intermittent fasting number 4, don't fast every day. The reason I recommend you don't fast every single day of the week is because I recommend a longer fasting window to make sure that you achieve that optimal weight loss ketosis. And since you're fasting longer and fasting is a stress on your body, it'll increase the calorie deficit that we're creating as well. So calorie deficit is another stress on your body. I want to ensure that we're not stressing your body too much and we're switching things up, and also to make life more enjoyable, that you get to have some days where you don't have to worry about your intermittent fasting windows. It just makes the whole experience a lot more sustainable long term, and it'll create a slower weight loss, which is also more sustainable long term. What I recommend typically is that if you fast for about 20 hours each day that you fast, just fast 4 or 5 days a week. And that should be enough to start seeing some weight loss results. Rule number 5, consume enough calories. Now, we just talked about limiting the stresses that we're imposing on your body. So that's one reason that I want to make sure that you're consuming enough calories during your eating window, because sometimes women find that when they get to eat, they don't really feel that hungry and they don't want to eat more than, say, a salad during their eating window. My recommendation would be to, during your 4-hour, make sure that you're eating enough. Even if you don't feel really hungry, try to get some nutrient-dense food into your body. And that could be a smoothie, something lightweight, but just try to make sure that you're consuming enough calories during your eating window, because not only it'll decrease the stress on your body, limit the risk of getting into starvation mode, but it will also make fasting easier the next day. What can happen is that if you have too much of a calorie deficit, you'll be starving. You may wake up the next day and you'll feel starving, and trying to fast till 3 o'clock in the afternoon will feel horrible, and I don't want that. I don't want you to hate your intermittent fasting experience. And making sure that you're eating enough during that eating window will make fasting the next day that much easier. Rule number 6, learn to listen to your body. Learning to listen to your body is super important, whether you're intermittent fasting or not. But the advantage of intermittent fasting is that it will enable you to listen to your body better, because you won't be a slave to your food cravings anymore. Before intermittent fasting, a lot of women find that they still feel hungry right after eating. They want something sweet. They're always craving food. It's really hard to listen to your body when that's the way you feel. But fortunately, once you start healing your body with intermittent fasting and regulating your insulin levels, this is a thing of the past. And now you learn to discover your true hunger cues, and you can learn to listen to those. You can learn to assess how you're feeling, your energy level, your sleep, to figure out if there's any troubleshooting that needs to be done. And our last rule of intermittent fasting is to experiment with cycling. Changing things up is really helpful to not get in a rut, because what your body needs at a certain time may be different at a different time. And so when I say to experiment with cycling, I mean cycling your intermittent fasting method is one thing, so you could switch things up that way. Maybe do the warrior diet for a while. I mean, you don't have to cycle constantly, but just keep an open mind about those things and listen to your body. For example, I was doing the warrior diet 5 days a week for over a year, And then I started experimenting with 24-hour fast once or twice a week. And for a while, I did the 5-2 method. So that's what I mean. When you cycle your intermittent fasting window, it doesn't mean that you change things up for the sake of changing things up, but keep an open mind and don't keep a blinder on, like you can never change anything. And if it's working now, it's gonna work forever. It's not the way it works, and it's good to be open to trying different things. You can also cycle diet types. I like to include some keto cycles a couple times a year, modified fasting as well. And right now I am doing juicing, and a lot of juicing, mostly feeding myself freshly pressed vegetable juices with cooked or raw vegetables for dinner. And that's how I feel that I'm thriving right now. And so that's another way you could consider cycling, by paying attention to your body's need. You may find that it changes. It's not always the same thing. And so figure out how you can best support your body by the foods that you are consuming. And so we're done with these intermittent fasting for weight loss rules. They're simple, effective, and I'm pretty proud of myself for writing them out, even though I hate rules. I hope you enjoyed them as well, and thank you for watching.